gentlemen, boys and girls, species around the multiverse, welcome to Geek Syndicate episode 338. We are doing what we always do, and that is bringing us back to geekdom. I am Monts, and with me as always is...
I'm talking about rock and roll mercenaries, soldiers of fortune by some other name. I'm talking about rock and roll mercenaries. Money is power, and power is fit. Sorry.
This is one of those times when I wish this was like a video cast, because if you could have seen my face right then and what my eyes were doing, it would have been worth... you know what? We could have put a paywall on this episode, because my face would have been worth the price of admission right then. Because I was going to say, I ain't got a clue what you're doing, but I feel like I should know.
That was my tribute to the late Meatloaf.
Okay, right.
So obviously,
I thought it was like some 80s cartoon who had some kind of glam rock.
I mean, it should. I mean, to be fair, that should have been on an 80s cartoon.
Yeah.
It's obviously Meatloaf sadly passed away not too long ago. I've never really listened to his music or anything like that. I knew some of the ones in the charts, but there was you know. But that one tune, I remember when that one tune came out. And it was him and another rock dude that sung it. And I remember like just hearing it, and there was just something about the lyrics. And it was just the way the man kept busting out. I'm talking about rock and roll mercenaries, soldiers of fortune. And I was like, you know what? Even though I'm not really into rock, I'm here for that tune.
Yeah. Fair enough.
You know what I mean? So I just wanted to hail up Meatloaf.
Right. Well, if we are bigging up the dead.
See, I know where this is going.
Yeah, so I just want to give a shout out to Brian Augustin. Is that what you thought it was going?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he is a comic editor and a comic writer, and he's one of the legends, and he's just passed away at the age of 67. And for me, one of his standout pieces of work was Batman Gotham by Gaslight.
Yeah.
And for that alone, Jimmy, regardless, you know, let alone what else is in the bibliography, for that alone, just big salute and thanks for the stories, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. 67, that's no age at all these days.
No age at all. He had a stroke. So yeah. So there's a tribute to a couple of people there.
Yeah. So onwards and upwards, as they say.
Onwards and upwards.
It's been a while. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I've been madly busy.
Cool. All right, thanks for that. Anyway, let's roll on.
So the last time I talked to you, I had you on my podcast, A Naked Geek, and we touched base, man. We went to like deep places. It's like none of that meant the thing to you.
To be honest, as soon as Zoom call went dead, I forgot about it.
Wow, man. Look at him still laughing. Like it's
yeah. No, it was good times, man. Good times. I was actually thinking of getting you to send me the MP3, and I was going to put it in the GS feed so people wanting to listen to they can listen to Dave's new podcast, which is The Naked Geek, but also they can listen to us chatting in a somewhat different fashion than we would normally talk on Geek Syndicate.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, but no, what I was going to say is because I'm performing away from home, I'm getting a chance to like on my journeys to watch a lot more than I usually would. And I've been packing some, I don't even know where to start on. You know what? I ain't got time for news. It's just week that was, man, because I've got it coming out my ears.
Yeah, likewise, man.
It's time for the week that was.
Yeah.
So the first one I read was a book called Trailer the Cursed Cobras. Yeah, shit, man.
Yeah, I've heard it shit.
Yeah, I don't know what the author was thinking. He just needs to like rethink everything.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No, that Trailer the Cursed... Oh, I was thinking of a different one. No, this one was quite good. It was by some dude called Barry Nugent. And I'm here for that book all day and all night. I cannot... I think in my Goodreads review, I just put, you know, what I mean, you could tell this writing's maturing every time he puts pen to paper, and this is a prime example of that. And it's just the characterization, the plotting, the descriptions, the action, the individual character journeys. I'm here for it all day, man. That Train of the Cursed Cobras by Barry Nugent. You might know the name. It's definitely worth your time and money. Pay money. Don't go get it on Amazon like freeness, however they do it. Just pay money.
You can order the hardback off the website. I'm not going to turn this into a big sales pitch for my stuff. All I'll say is that I've been getting some good reviews, some really good feedback. I'm really glad that people are enjoying it. It was an experiment. I didn't know how it would go down. You know, writing middle grade fiction, and it seems to be going down quite well at the moment. I am currently working on a new book. I haven't announced what the new book is yet. I shall be announcing it soon. So that's going well. So yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, that was my second read of 2022.
Cool.
The first one being Hawkeye that you recommended in our last episode.
Oh, is this the
Kate Bishop one?
Anchor Points.
Anchor Points.
Yeah.
And I'm just here to say you were right.
Told you, man.
Yeah. That's quality.
It's quality with it.
And the characterization, it's like you could tell that the TV the TV one is kind of based on some of this work because it just felt familiar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
I've got the I haven't got them yet, but definitely want to check out because there's another two volumes, I think. So I certainly want to check those out.
But I say if you like it, and I think I mentioned this in a chat we had on Facebook. If we like it, so around the time this came out, there was like a surge of like that kind of just more down to earth superhero adventuring, and the art was bright and easy to look at, and it just had that kind of tone to it that this has, and they were just I just loved them. I just loved them.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't world shattering stuff, and it didn't need to be. It was quality.
Well, I read often it was on you can get it on Kindle Unlimited as well. It's the Rocketeer Cargo of Doom.
Oh, okay.
Which is a sort of collected story. I'm not sure how many issues it was. I want to say 6. Which is written by Mark Waid and art by Chris Sammy. Colors by
love Mark Waid.
Yeah, colours by Jordi Belair and letters by Sean Lee. I loved it. Full on pulp, Rocketeer, and what's quite nice about it is if you know, all I'll say is if you know your Doc Savage, there's a cameo in there that you'll spot. But you got to know your Doc Savage because they'll make it obvious.
Right.
And I kept, as it was going through, I kept thinking, is it him? And then finally they kind of answer it, and I'm like, yeah, it is. Because I don't know if you know this, but in the original Rocketeer comic, the actual jetpack was made by Doc Savage.
I did not know that.
And the two, so in the film, it's Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
That whole bit of Howard Hughes, that was Doc Savage in the comic.
Right.
And you got the 2 FBI agents chasing him.
Yeah.
In the film. In the comic, it was Monk and Ham, who are Doc's associates. And I don't know, well, it's probably licensing and all the rest of it, but man, every time I still think about that, it would have been so awesome if it had been Doc Savage. It's
probably just easier for a random audience to access it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and also you're still hitting the whole kind of, reclusive billionaire type inventor with Howard Hughes, and people are going to know that straight away as opposed to trying to then take the time to explain Doc Savage. But still, man, still would have been cool.
Yeah.
That was Cargo. Really enjoyed it. Really recommend it. The art is lovely, and obviously Mark Waid, and it's quality.
Yeah. Okay.
Going back a little way, have you seen the new Bond film?
I have.
Okay.
You want a reaction?
I would like a reaction. No, that is the whole point of the podcast.
Yeah, true. I watched it with my wife, and she's a big Bond fan. Fan. And it's quite interesting because a lot of Bond fans don't like this one.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I loved it. In my mind, it was like a little different to previous Bond films for reasons that I won't get into because it will take away. It's kind of without. It will just be spoilers, but yeah, it changed things up and it showed a man at the end of his career. And people go, well, that's not really Bond. Well, that's because he's kind of evolved. It may not have evolved in a way I like, but who am I to say how a person evolves? And I like that. So yeah, I was a big fan of that.
I have to say, there's a thing I didn't like, because overall, I've seen it twice now. Overall, I did enjoy it. I definitely enjoyed it more than I enjoyed Spectre. The whole what they did, it's a mild spoiler, but the whole what they did with the new 007. I mean, she's all over the posters and stuff. It's not really a spoiler, but I kind of feel like they wanted to have their cake and eat it.
Yeah.
And I feel she got pretty short shrift.
Do you know what? You're absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely. She didn't really do anything to show her 007 chops.
No.
There was another woman in it.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
And she was amazing. And
Yeah.
you're like, hold on. So let me get this right. You set up this woman to be 007 and you ain't given her half the action that
Yeah.
you gave this woman who just popped up and then disappeared again.
And I felt like she could have handled it. I felt like the actress and where I feel if they'd given her the work, do you know what I mean? She could have handled it, but I just don't feel she got the chance to really.
No, and I felt as a consequence, she was trying to big up the stuff she did do, but it wasn't enough to make the big up worthwhile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
You know what? What's her name? Kind of back on it. I think it was Tomorrow Never Dies. You had Michelle Yeoh, who was playing
Chinese agent.
She was a Chinese agent or whatever.
Yeah.
She was all over that film.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? And proved that she did much more in that film than Naomi, I think her name was, in this one. And I think, and it's not down to the character actor, it's just down to the script.
Absolutely.
There wasn't enough. Yeah, there wasn't enough for her. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think the opening 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I know that was tough, man. That was tough, man.
There's some harshness going on there.
I still say that bit when he's in the car and they're just shooting up the car. My boy's just chilling in the car.
Yeah.
And he just goes, all right, then. And it just kicks off. And I was like, yeah, that's how you open up a Bond film.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. Didn't need to be as long as it did.
No, do you know what? People often say that, and I'm like, I've stopped saying that because I haven't seen a film in the last 10 years where I haven't said that. I'm just like, that's just standard for me now.
I agree, disagree. We now, so I'll move on quickly to say we watched a film called Nobody.
It's on my list.
I believe Nobody is 90 minutes.
Okay.
I'm just actually typing in Rundy Tub just so I can say, yeah, Nobody is an hour and 32 minutes. That was the reason why we watched it. Because in the evening, and we kind of was like, oh, should we watch a Nobody? And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, I just don't know if I've got a 2-hour film in, because like you said, every film now seems to be standard 2 hours and over.
Yeah.
And then we looked and it was like 90 minutes and she was like, yeah, put it on. Mate, you got to watch that film.
Okay. All right.
You got to watch that film.
All right.
It's like John Wick with laughs.
Do you know what? I saw you write that, and I thought, okay, because I was like, yeah, it's like I've seen 2 John Wicks. I don't need a third one. It's just like lots of punchy people getting hurt, and I was like, how much more of that do I need? But when you said it's like John Wicks with laughs, I was like, okay, that sounds a bit different.
Right, and let me just preface that by saying that there is laughter. However,
it's still a bit hard going.
Some people get a whole can of whoop-ass opened up on them, man. I mean, some people get beat down in this film.
Sorry, Beth.
Yeah. Let me just tell you one thing, right? Tell Mickey. Do you know anything about the film?
Not a thing.
Okay. So basically the concept is it's an ordinary guy, but you know there's something about him, which you can tell from the poster, yeah?
Yeah.
But there's a bit where he goes into he's trying to get some information, and as the audience, you still don't quite know anything really about him, and he goes in somewhere, and they're like, yeah, you picked the wrong place to come in, boy, and all this sort of stuff. And there's one guy in there, he's obviously some kind of ex-army vet or something. And the way he looks at the guy when he's mouthing off and he notices a tattoo.
Yeah.
Mate, his reaction to that tattoo is priceless. It tells you all you need to know about the guy.
Okay.
Is his reaction. And the fact this guy is some kind of he's obviously some special. It's almost like Chuck Norris seeing some dude and then reacting in a particular way.
Oh, okay.
It tells you, as the audience, it tells you all you need to know.
And tell me nothing, except make me want to go and find out what it is you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a great example of showing and not telling that film.
Okay, all right.
Get on it, man.
Okay. All right, so if we're talking films,
yeah,
I finally saw Eternals, Marvel film.
Okay. I've been waiting for this.
And it's really interesting because it almost slipped by because I feel like Marvel hasn't made a big thing of it as they do with all their other films.
Mm.
And it's just weird. It's like, here's a film. Oh, okay. Okay. I'll watch it then. Oh, it's Marvel, is it? Does it tie in? Oh, great. That's how it felt to me. It's like, it felt like a Marvel afterthought. So just put it on night, me and Siobhan, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I know this film is pure Marmite. I've seen it out there. It's pure Marmite for people, which, for those who don't know Marmite, people either love it or hate it. I really enjoyed it. I thought, and mainly because it felt different than the usual. I love all my Marvel films, but to be honest, they've got a format, and this felt different. This felt like it wasn't the usual format, and I was down for that. And I think the woman who played, I can't remember her name, but she played the speedster in it.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do a speedster.
That is, I mean, to be fair,
there's
that is
no
how you
two
do
ways, man. Any speedster I've ever seen, she puts them to shame. They got her. They perfect.
None of that slow-mo nonsense.
Yeah, just like, it's like, you think, what could she do? She could just run fast. She holds her own against heavy hitters, man, because she knows how to use her speed.
So, I watched it.
Oh, I'd just say this as well. It was like, so it started and and Siobhan was like, oh, bloody, what's her name?
Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, because bloody Angelina Jolie. I was like, oh, you don't like her then? She only has one acting. All she does is pose. She doesn't have to do anything but pose. I was like, give her a break, man. Give her a chance. She's done lots of stuff. She's probably more versatile than you think. And by the end of the movie, I was like, oh, she got a point. she got a point.
So, to be fair, she wasn't a lot for her to work with.
Yeah.
So I watched it. So we put it on, and that's another one, some stupid running time. Isn't that like another 2.5 hour job or something? Or it might have been close to 3. I don't know. Anyway, 20 minutes in, Sue just went, I'm going to bed. This is not. Yeah, I'm going to bed. This is nonsense. And then they went to bed. And then so I carried on with it. I actually watched it 1.5 times. The reason being, I actually fell asleep in the second half.
Okay.
To be fair, I was actually quite tired, and it was quite warm. And it's not when you fall asleep. It's that sort of where you're watching something and you haven't really taken it in because you've been a bit.
You feel like I've missed 10 seconds here.
Yeah. It was a little.
Or was it half an hour?
It was a little bit like that, and it was obviously the climactic bit of the film and stuff. And I was like, right, let me just give this film a fair shake and go back. So I rewatched it, and I did enjoy it. So let me tell you the positives. Some of the visuals in this film, if they now do. There's no way you can now bring me Galactus as some sort of dark cloud.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you do Galactus in the MCU now, he's got to be a big dude, a big purple dude, because them celestial dudes looked. I was. Doesn't that sound silly, right? But I was genuinely like happy I hadn't seen this on the big screen because parts of it would have terrified me.
Do you know what they reminded me of? Was the I'm trying to remember what they were called. The Titans from Inner Space. Final Space.
Yes. Yeah, I see that. Yeah. They're terrifying, man.
They were terrifying.
So, yeah, visually, I thought it was amazing. I think narratively, I liked some of what it was trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I felt it was it was too long, and I felt like there were either too many of them, or they sometimes focused on the wrong ones, and the ones that I was really interested in didn't get the focus. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I loved it. I mean, for me, you know, I'm the whole concept of immortality and immortal warriors that have been there since the dawn of time. Blah blah blah. I'm there for days for that as a concept. You know that, right? The problem that I have, and in some ways, it's kind of MCU being a victim of its own successes. I really struggle when you just give me a throwaway line of someone going, "Well, why didn't you help when Thanos was here?" Oh, because someone had told us not to. Okay.
Yeah, but what else were they going to do? See, I mean, their thing is to obey the Celestials.
No. I get that.
Like, how much of an explanation do you need?
No. Hey, look, just because you enjoyed it, I'll be entitled for my opinion. You know what I mean?
I'm just questioning.
No, but okay. So look, you know from your folks, right? Your folks tell you when you're a teenager. Your folks say to you, "I want you back in the house by 10 o'clock." Right? There's a party that and sometimes you might test that, and you might go, "Do you know what? I'm going to rock up at 11 and see what happens." That you don't always blindly accept orders that you're given. And I get that was a point of the journey of the characters, because obviously you had that one guy and there was bits where they were questioning it. But I guess I just wanted a little bit more of that, and I don't know what that looked like, Monts. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted a little bit more, and I think because of the MCU that we're watching, right? The whole thing with Thanos was such a big deal. You know, the man took out half of the universe, and I felt like they needed to have a scene almost in that film, almost set afterwards. Do you get what I mean? Almost with them kind of going, oh, I can't believe we should have done something, man. The guy's taken out half the universe. We should do something. And then, you know what I mean? Almost having to be reasoned down to say, look, we've been told to stand down. We can't do anything. Okay. Rather than it just being
okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Rather than it being a little conversation around the dinner table.
Because you told me what that looked like, and I was like, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that was
okay.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you're right. It was a throwaway line, but part of me was like, I mean, but I find that with every time you bring in a new character that's been around, you kind of go, well, why didn't they do it?
Yeah,
because they hadn't written them yet, so we need something. You know what I mean?
And,
but that would have worked.
And I think is that and you have to accept
because the logic of sitting that out, given what the Celestials wanted to achieve, and they needed people to do it, the logic of sitting out Thanos makes no sense.
Exactly. But I think, given you're right now with the films that they do, pretty much any Marvel film now with some world-ending thing, you have to accept the fact that all the other Marvel heroes that you've introduced that they've got stuff going on.
Yeah,
you just have to accept that, and I don't have a problem with that. But I think when you've got that story where it's kind of set around the fact that you're trying to set up these immortals that are basically running the spine of the MCU, then I would have liked to have seen them in the spine of the MCU. I'd have liked to have seen other major events going on and them kind of either being about and just not getting involved. And I don't know if maybe this might have worked better for me as a series.
Yeah, a few people have said that.
Where you got that time to sort of, I say breathing room, and it had nearly 3 hours. But you know what I mean? Also, I know they're trying to do it to set up something else, man. But the boyfriend at the beginning, I'm like, what was that about?
What do you mean?
He just didn't really lend nothing to it. I
thought there's something about him. It's because he's accepting this a little bit too easily.
Yeah, and obviously that's the setup, and I recognise the name and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. But as I said, I didn't. I know you said it's a level of hate. I didn't love it, and I didn't hate it. I did kind of land. There was bits of it I really liked, and there were bits of it that I'm like, yeah.
But to be fair, I didn't come out of it going, I loved that, but I didn't. But I did like it more than I didn't. I liked it a lot more than I didn't.
Yeah. And also, like I said, the running girl. I mean, the brother.
Yeah.
I mean,
the inventor dude.
The inventor guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean. It was, but I wanted to see more from them. And did you recognize the guy who played Gilgamesh?
Yeah. Where did I recognize him from, though?
He was the guy from Train to Busan.
Ah, my boy deserved a break like that, man.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he
Yeah,
did. He did. He was there, and he was good. He was good in the film, man. He was good.
yeah. Nah, cool. All right, so moving on, moving
Moving on,
on.
moving on.
What we doing? TV, books. Oh, I
Uh,
did books.
books.
Touched on comics.
We could do.
What
So
have you watched TV?
I've watched the first episode of because there is something I want to talk about. I've watched the first episode of the Book of Boba Fett.
Okay, okay.
Have you seen any of it?
I'm up to date. I mean, I say up to
Okay.
date as we are speaking. The next one's come out, and I haven't seen that one.
I think this goes to show just where we are in terms of geekdom. The fact that they've got a Star Wars show out and it's been out for what, 6 weeks,
Yeah,
and I've only just watched the first episode. That just shows where you. I mean, that just says it
yeah.
all. It says it all.
Well, it's also like I said to you, me and Doctor. I'm gonna say, yeah, rain or shine. I'm a Doctor Who guy, and yet I still haven't caught up with the Christmas stuff. I've seen the first episode and I haven't gone back to it. And I'm like, because the list of stuff to watch is just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
So, what's your thoughts on it? So, because you've seen more of it than I have, and I know it's been mixed, and I don't. So I want to get your take on it before I tell you what I thought of the first episode.
I'm enjoying it.
There's a lot of pauses there.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think the thing is, I want to enjoy it more than I am,
Oh, okay.
but I don't. I mean, it's like it's. Everyone goes, oh, it's different from the Boba Fett back in the Empire Strikes Back. To be fair, all he did was turn up. Darth Vader handed him Han Solo, and and then he fell into a pit. So
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
we got this idea he's a badass. We didn't actually do that much.
I keep seeing it. There's a lot of things with people saying that Boba Fett, and I kept thinking, was there another Boba Fett film or something that I didn't see?
Maybe it was in the comics or the books. Maybe he was a bit more badass in the comics or books because it was like he did. You know what I mean?
He looked badass.
He looked badass and he was wily. He hid his ship in the debris and he followed them and then
Yeah.
he held his gun up and Darth Vader goes, "Here he is," and he goes, "Cheers, mate," and he's off. And then he's standing guard on a barge, and then it all goes.
Yeah, and pretty much all he says is, "He's not good to be dead."
Yeah, I know.
I mean, that's. I mean, in terms of character work, there's not a lot to work with there. Do you know what I
No,
mean?
so it's like, so in a way, whatever you do with this is like positive. And in this, and it starts off with him having a near-death experience, and then it changes him. And do you know what I mean? He's still not on the right side of the law, but he wants to do things differently than he has done. So I'm like, I see it, and I like these contemplative character journeys, but a lot of it doesn't quite make sense to me. It doesn't quite hang together. It's like, how do you just walk into a place and go, right, I'm the boss now? Yeah, you are. But it's like, and admittedly, not everyone's accepting it, but it's like he expected everyone to accept it. I was like, what? What was your plan? I'm not seeing a plan here. And, I mean, Ming-Na Wen is saving his ass on a regular.
Right.
I don't know. But then the last episode, not the one that's just come out, the last episode, I'm not going to say anything, but that was, that came out of, that was a curveball. And everyone was going, this is my favourite episode yet. And I have to go, yeah, mine too.
Okay.
And I'm not going to tell you why.
But to be fair, that's part of the reason why I'm like, you know what, I need to get on it because I get a sense that time's ticking before it's going to get spoiled
Mate,
for me.
It's literally, I'm surprised you don't know already. I'm
Yeah, okay.
actually shocked. I'm shocked. How did you find the first episode?
So it's interesting because I think part of it was it was not enough time had passed. I think I'd been coloured by people's mixed reviews of it. So I think I went in with a bit of and actually watched it in 2 sittings, weirdly. And it was all right. I thought it was all right. It didn't. When I watched that first episode of The Mandalorian, I was like, I'm here for this for days.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I watched this and I was like, I think part of it was I'm not necessarily a sucker for a flashback.
Yeah. This is flashback central.
Yeah, I was like, just get on with business. Do you know what I mean? And I think that image of from the last episode of Mandalorian when it had that kind of that post-credit scene where you got him and I can't remember what her name is in it, and he just walks in and he's sitting on the throne like the end of Conan, and she's there with him, and it's like, yeah, I'm running the show now. And it's like Book of Boba Fett. I'm like, boy, this is going to be bloody. People are going to get a whooping in this. So I think, and then when it and then he's all about, I want to rule with respect and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what now? I kind of felt that, because it's a mild spoiler, but there's a bit in the first episode where literally a guy kind of comes in and it's just mouthing off at him in a roundabout way. And I was kind of sitting there waiting. I thought, well, he's going to get gunned down. And then all of a sudden, he's like, nah, let him go. I'm like, what? What now? What? So I think from that perspective, I haven't really read people's criticisms, but I think from that perspective, even in the limited footage we saw of Boba Fett in Empire and Jedi, the impression that I got was he was a pretty ruthless character.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and that's the thing, he's had this near-death experience and it's changed him. So, that's what we got going on here.
But I suppose the thing is that
but I don't think that's what everyone tuned in for.
But also that didn't necessarily come across in The Mandalorian.
No.
Because in The Mandalorian, I mean, you may have had a dead, but he came across pretty hardcore.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I think people might have been expecting, forgot that. I think people were expecting more of that hardcore.
Because, I mean, he might have had a near-death experience that was like, I'm going to do things differently, but he had no problem whooping them stormtroopers.
Yeah. No, but it's interesting because there's some Tusken Raider stuff coming up, which is quite it's quite interesting stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you might admittedly, it's flashback stuff, but I think you might like that.
Okay. One of the things I do like is, which is something that old school Star Wars did, which is what I like with this kind of new old school Star Wars is doing, where the alien races feel alien.
Yeah.
There's a line he drops where like they're coming into his call in the chat and he's like, I don't know what they're saying. We really could do with getting the protocol right. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that it's that kind of not everyone speaks the same language.
But I tell you, man, you have to, even if, do you know what? Hold on. What episode? Hold on. Book of Boba.
It's episode 5.
Episode 5.
Yeah.
Even if you decide, if you watch episode 2 and you go like, you know what, I just can't get through this, just watch episode 5.
I mean, to be honest, my thing is, I watched some clips from the last trilogy.
Yeah.
The Rey one. And you know what, right? You say what you want about Book of Boba Fett, and you can see people could be saying it's not as good, blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you what, right? Compared to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah.
I feel like people kind of forget. And I feel like The Mandalorian set the bar high. But for me, the look of it, even watching it and thinking, I'm not sure, what his motivations are, blah, blah, blah. But it looks like Star Wars and it feels like Star Wars.
And you know what? And I haven't turned it off.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, so, right. So while we're here, I want to talk about a superhero show.
Okay.
If I may.
Yeah.
And this is rapidly becoming one of my favourite superhero TV shows. And I would never have believed that I was saying this.
Okay.
Peacemaker.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about this show.
Mate, it is batshit crazy. It's madness.
Isn't this done by the dude who did
it's James
Guardians
Gunn.
of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
Yeah, James Gunn, yeah.
And John Cena is killing it. You know what I mean? He's not one of my top-rated actors, but he's really leaning into every aspect of this, man. The silly aspects and the emotional aspects, and it's just mad. It's just mad. The opening credits alone is worth the price. I mean, basically,
I've seen the opening credits. What the hell?
And it's really funny that you were singing Meatloaf at the beginning of the episode, because I'm like, if you're a fan of 80s glam metal, this show is for you. Now, that's not me, but I'm like, at one point I found myself nodding my head along. I was like, what's happening, man? What's happening? But it's like, even there's a conversation in the first 3 minutes of episode 1, and I was like, what? And that conversation finished. I went, oh, I am in. And then the credits started, and I was like, what is happening? It's like an assault on my senses. It is. I am. It's one of those ones. Like I said, there's so much to watch right now, and the minute it's out, I'm on it.
And I think the thing is because I'm gonna mention a show I actually watched today. The thing is now, it's not even just about being a good quality show, a good quality genre show. You gotta have something different now as well.
Yeah. Well, this is not following any established format.
Right.
And what I like about everyone's going Marvel shows, DC needs to pick up some of the not the CW shows, but the HBO shows or the HBO CW crossovers. They have started to. I mean, Titans, Doom Patrol, Swamp Thing, unfortunately cancelled.
Yeah.
Peacemaker. They are doing it. They are quietly doing it differently.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I need to get on Doom
it's
Patrol.
not going to be mainstream because they're much more adult. They're much more harder to get your head around. But it's worth the investment. And I'm like, do you know what? People may be talking down DC, but we've always said, DC animated are killing it. But in my mind, what DC are doing with their non-CW TV shows is another level of quality.
Yeah.
At the same time, I watched Naomi, which is a CW show based on a DC character written by Brian Michael Bendis. And I love the comic. I've watched 2 episodes of Naomi and I am out. Everything, every beat of the comic that made the comic great, they've adapted out.
Right.
And like there was one thing I was really looking for, just one thing I was really looking forward to. The plotting is standard, the dialogue is standard, the casting is standard. Just like, yeah.
And that's what I mean. Now you can't. Don't cut it now. Standard, don't cut it.
Yeah. Other things, you've got this great character that is sort of making proper inroads in the DC Comics universe, and you screwed the pooch, man. Is that what they say? Screwed the pooch.
Yeah.
Screwed the pooch.
Effed up.
Yeah. I prefer screwed the pooch.
Okay. Well, no, I was going to say speaking of peaches, but that's actually no link whatsoever. I randomly, it was Sue that found it on Disney, and then we watched 2 minutes of it, and she said, "No, I can't. This is going to be too violent. I can't watch it."
What's that?
Hit Monkey.
I've been wondering about that.
So basically, people that Hit Monkey is a cartoon on Disney Plus. The fact that some of the stuff that Disney Plus is shared that I have to keep telling myself that this is Disney.
Yeah. I actually had to look up Hit Monkey on Wikipedia, and I was like, "Wait, this is actually a Marvel comic."
Yeah, which I didn't know.
Never heard of.
Never heard of it. So it's really difficult to say anything really about spoiling it. So basically, it's this hitman.
I'm looking forward to hearing you try.
It's this hitman, and he gets involved with. He does a job, and then he gets in typical. It's not really a spoiler because it happens all the time. He gets kind of double crossed and left for dead, and he's sort of rescued by a tribe of monkeys.
Yeah.
And
macaques.
Yeah, and one of the monkeys kind of gets a little. Well, I say he gets obsessed with him. That's the one way to put it. He's basically trying to convince the others to kick him out because he's like, this guy's going to be trouble for us, and boy, is he trouble for them. And I can't really say anything more about it because it kind of spoils it. Because there's kind of like a bit of a twist with it, and it sort of spoils, which happens at the end of the first episode. But
yeah, go.
It basically involves. I mean, basically, if you want to see a monkey in a sharp dressed monkey in a suit with sunglasses and 2 guns taking man out.
It's a ridiculous sentence, man.
Yeah. But that's what it is, buds, and I'm there for it. And it's basically part anime, part buddy cop, because basically it's like a buddy action movie with the hitman. Yeah, with the hitman and the hit monkey, and obviously he can't understand. I can't even Just watch it. Just watch it.
I can't. Okay, is it so? It's worth my while.
I think so. I put it this way. I put the first episode on and I went straight on to episode 2 afterwards because I was like, I need to see how this plays out.
I can't get my head around what you're saying right now, man. I just.
And again, I mean, the show, I mean, it's cited, but yeah, people get hurt, man. People get gunned down. So,
I was not expecting this as a recommendation.
yeah. And basically, the hitman in it. I mean, and this is classic Marvel. I mean, the hitman's basically Tony Stark, just in the way he delivers the lines and stuff. They might as well have got Robert Downey Jr. to do his lines. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
But it works. It works. Yeah. Hit monkey. Here's a line never
It doesn't matter how many times you say it. It's just like, right, it's a hit monkey.
Yeah.
Okay. So I watched. I'm probably on my South Korean tip at the moment,
Okay.
and I watched a TV show called The Silent Sea.
Oh, this is it's the one it's the space one.
It's a space one. So
They go
Earth,
to like a space station or something.
yeah. So the Earth has been. I mean, the entire Earth is under severe drought.
Mm.
And water's rationed, and it's like, you know, your social standing depends how much water you get. There's like not much greenery left, so the Earth is on its last legs. And there's a team sent to a space station, a moon station on the moon, and there was a accident. You can't see me doing my fingers in like the air quotes. There was an accident on the moon in this main station, and like loads of people lost their lives in it, and the moon base has been shut since then. And one of the women on the trip has been like approached by the space agency to go out of the blue, and her sister died in the thing. So you're like, well, why is she going up there? And they go there, and things are not what they expected, and it had a little bit of an Aliens feel to it.
Okay.
It was, to begin with, I was like, I'm not really. I watched the first couple episodes, and I'm not really sure, but I'm liking the setup. I'm liking how it feels. So I kept going, and I'm not going to go, this is the best thing you'll ever see, but I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it a lot, actually.
Oh, okay.
And one of the main characters in it was one of the main guys from Train to Busan.
Yes, because I think I saw a trailer of it, and I thought I recognised. I think the woman in it is from something
And the
as well.
woman in it is from Kingdom.
Yes, was she the doctor or
She was the nurse in.
That's it. Yeah.
So they're both from zombie movies. Funnily enough.
Mm.
Yeah, and I think it was a good watch. I enjoyed it. It was how many episodes? 8 episodes.
Okay.
So I mean, again, it's one of the ones where I'm like, if people don't rush to see it, I utterly get that. But if you fancy a bit of science fiction, people stuck on a base, not sure who's going to get taken out next type stuff, with high stakes, then yeah, give it a look-see.
Okay. 2 things lastly, and then we'll wrap up. I'll say these 2 things because I'm assuming that you've probably seen. I know one of them you've seen, maybe the other one you haven't. I don't know. But very quickly, I want to just give a shout out to Archer because I caught up on Archer.
Oh mate, I am. Yeah, I think I shed a tear at the end.
Yes, because obviously the voice actress who played his mum sadly passed away.
It's just a gut punch right there, man.
But then as tributes go, though,
It doesn't get much better than that.
So yeah, so this was season 12?
Yes, I think it was.
And I enjoyed the previous season, but at the same time, a part of me was like, oh, am I starting to go off the boil with it a bit? But this season,
picked it back up.
I was all over it, man. Because the thing is, it was funny, but at the same time, it felt like every episode was like you're watching a Bond film.
Yeah.
Because there was some proper action in there as well. And there's just a lot of one-liners and zingers. I mean, it's Archer, you know. He's such an arse.
He's such an arse. It's just... You just wanted to get some comeuppance, don't you?
Yeah, he's such an arse. So that's Archer. And finally, I watched the latest episode of The Expanse.
Me too.
Not the latest episode, I mean the latest season.
Yeah, me too.
and the final season.
Yeah.
Um,
And,
and
and and therein lies my problem.
okay,
I mean, I consistently love this show,
hmm
and I was halfway through the last season, and I was like, how are they gonna? How are they gonna end this in two more episodes? And in my mind, they didn't very well.
you weren't feeling the wrap up
No, there was too much left. And it looked like there was things just, if they have a spin-off series, then maybe, but I thought there was too much just beginning.
because there was a whole storyline where I feel that's the storyline, and maybe it's from the books as well, because obviously the books go on. Um, that I feel that they were almost setting themselves up for, if we get all
Yeah,
seasons down the line, we can pick that thread up, which
yeah,
is fine. But I think within this season, narratively, it just didn't work, because I was kind of like, this is the it's a mild spoil. It's the thread with the colonists,
oh
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
little
yeah, yeah.
girl. That it for me, it felt just as that story was starting to get going, it then ended.
Yeah, and also it's like the end of the previous season, you had all these Martian spaceships go through because they were going to start something, and then like, what happened to them?
I think they were the ones that were the colonists.
But it didn't make sense because like when they went through the guy, I was like, yeah, we're going to be running this proper military style. So because what's that? Because it belongs to my mother. It's not military, is it? Give it here. And I'm like, wow, because that didn't look like that kind of.
It didn't look like it was the same. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
so I was just going, I'm a bit confused. What's going on? And I think for that, it kind of left me. I felt like I was left a little bit dangling,
okay.
and I didn't want to because I loved this show and I loved this last season, but I felt a little, yeah,
Shortchanged.
shortchanged. That's the one.
I think for me, I'm very much I'm all about the journey sort of guy nowadays than the destinations. As a journey, in the same way, almost like when you think about Babylon 5, because Babylon 5 didn't necessarily end in the way I wanted it to.
Mm.
If Babylon 5 had ended on season 4, we got a game. But I think season 5,
Well,
whereas I think with this, I think consistently it's been brilliant. I've absolutely loved this show.
yeah, absolutely.
But it was weird because when I watched the last episode, and now that you say that, I think it's because it didn't really feel like a season or series finale. It felt
Mm.
like a season. I suppose maybe that's why I haven't really let it go, because I keep expecting them to sort of go, okay, yeah, we've got season 7 coming out next year.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? It didn't feel like it was that sort of a
No,
big.
yeah, that's my problem, I think. But and also because I know you're talking about being a journey, but I felt like we were still on the journey, and
No,
it
yeah, I get
was
it.
like
Yeah, yeah,
this is great. But we're still on the journey.
yeah.
Where's it gone? So, but I mean, having said that, I still loved what I got.
It's still one of my favorite sci-fi shows.
Absolutely.
You know, I'll quite happily sit and watch it again. Some fantastic characters and just some great special effects, fight scenes, and and the music. I'm currently listening to. They've got all the soundtracks on Spotify. The music is wicked, and I think the show as a whole, it has that kind of. It's a cross between B5 and BSG. It kind of has that vibe to it, which is what I
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And the stakes just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
And yet you still had this little Firefly crew at the heart of it all. And it was a cracking show. Well worth a watch if you haven't seen it.
Absolutely. If you like if you like sci-fi and you haven't seen this show, then you're missing out.
Yeah,
You're doing yourself a misservice.
yeah, you need to get on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, buddy.
Yeah. So, as you can see from this episode, we didn't agree on everything, and that's fine. That's good. I like the discussion and the fire. So, let us know.
I'm right most of the times. Just saying.
See, it's the good thing that you're editing, so I can't edit that little bit out there because
Yeah, good point.
I would. just say under no illusions. What's my point? I don't know. What was I
Hey, look, man, if you don't know, I can't help you.
Oh yeah. So I was just gonna say, let us know who you agreed with most, me or B. Just let us know where you stand on the stuff we've talked about today, and you know how to do it. It's the geeks at geeksyndicate.co.uk, or we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. Let us know, or yeah, just let us know. If you feel like you want to support the work, then pop on over to, are we on Kofi? Is it Kofi or Buy Me a Coffee? I
No,
can't
wrong, wrong,
remember which one we're
wrong,
doing.
Kofi.
Kofi, Kofi.com. And yeah, apart from that, stay safe for stuff in it.
Yeah, what you
Yeah,
said.
what I said. So till next time, Geek Syndicate, we
We
out.
out.